right, you're welcome to today's class. Today we'll be making meat pie. All right, the recipe is displayed on your screen right now. You can put this down, you can write it into your notebook so that you can follow it up afterwards. All right, so these are the ingredients that we have arranged on our work table. Remember, we said you always mise en place everything. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm putting the lemon zest into my flour. Of course, this is optional, but it will give it a very beautiful aroma. All right, so after doing this, the next thing is we add in our butter or margarine, whatever type that you have, but this is salted butter. If you're using the unsalted butter, you will have to add salt to this, but this butter is salted already. All right, if we add extra salt to this, it will make our crust to be too salty. All right, so what you do is that you rub this into the flour. You rub the butter into the flour just like what I am doing right now. All right, using your both hands, and you just rub it all together this way, and until you ensure that everything gets into the flour. All right, so this is what to do. You just keep doing this. All right, so this is it. So you keep rubbing it in, this way. All right, okay, this is taking a little bit of time, but it's fine. You ensure to do this properly. You ensure to do it properly to ensure that every butter gets into the flour. All right, you just keep rubbing this in. It's very important. All right, very, very, very important. Okay, once you are done doing this, then you can add your other mixture. But for meat pie, it's just very simple. The crust is a short crust, so it's just flour, butter, and water. All right, we added the lemon zest just to add a bit of fragrance to it. And if you're not using lemon zest, you can use any other flavor. You can use butterscotch flavor. You can use, butterscotch flavor comes out really nice as well. It helps your crust to taste really buttery and nice. All right, so finally we are adding in our cold water. It's very essential that the water is very cold. All right, you keep it in your refrigerator and ensure that the water is very, very cold. Okay, meat pie crust comes out better if the water is cold. All right, if the crust is cold, it comes out better. All right, so ensure to use cold water. All right, so what I'm doing is that I want to mix it properly, so I'm pouring it on my work table. All right, ensure that your work table is clean and neat enough. All right, and then you add in the water and ensure that you have something that you have a doughy consistency, but not watery. We do not want a crust that is watery. All right, this is very simple. This is really simple. You mix everything together. You can see what I'm doing. It is indeed very, very simple. So this is it. You just ensure that you do not have any flour lying anywhere. You ensure that everything is mixed in together. All right, when I started meat pie, I didn't know that you could even add water. Some people tell you don't add water, just sprinkle a little water, then you will struggle to put it together. I remember those days, some guys will work on this meat pie and even faint. This is really funny, but these things are not that difficult. All right, you can actually make this and bring it out in chunks. All right, we have some people in the kitchen following up with this process, so they had to just touch to know the consistency of this dough, how it should be like. But you should have something doughy You can see how I'm pressing it. I mean, you'll be able to understand this even by watching. All right, you should not have any dough that is watery. No, you should have something that is this tough, but not too tough, but something that you can work with. So this is it. When you're done, you just put it into your plastic wrap and then straight into your refrigerator again. All right, so this is it. You mix all together, put it in your plastic wrap, and then you keep it to rest in your refrigerator. All right, so the next thing is that we make our meat pie filling. All right, there's no meat pie without meat pie filling. All right, and in making this, well, I like colors. That's why you see that you're seeing green, you're seeing red. I like colors, but I mean, you can be flexible with this as well. Remember, when we're making our stir fries or anything, the first thing we do is we usually add our onion first. This process always gives your food a particular signature that makes it really, really unique. All right, so the first thing is your onion. When your onion is aromatic, you follow in with your garlic. All right, and a little ginger. Okay, and then you stir all together just like what we're doing here. All right, so this is it. You do this, and then the next thing that goes in is that you put your minced beef. All right, you can buy this from stores, from grocery stores. You can buy from cold rooms, or you could just buy your meat and pound, or if you have a meat grinder, you could just grind your meat. All right, and all of that. And when you are done doing this, if it's forming a lot of lump, you could process it again. That's another option to ensure that you have a smoother meat. I think that will be in our revised edition. I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, so once we fry the meat this way, okay, we add in our water to ensure that the meat is cooked properly. We're going to have something tough, and meat pie is not meant to be, the meat is not meant to be tough, it's meant to be soft. All right, so we add our water so that it can boil. But some people will say, why not just boil it from the beginning? But when you're processing your foods, the way you start it is very, very important. That beginning that you stir fry your onion and your garlic is very important. It gives that a very distinct aroma to your beef. All right, so we're adding our potatoes, Irish potatoes to be precise. All right, but you can use even sweet potatoes. Sometimes I use sweet potatoes and it comes out well as well. All right, so you add your potatoes to cook with your beef. All right, just like what I'm doing right now. Okay, so we allow it to cook for a while, and then we now add the other ingredients. Okay, so this is it. The process for meat pie is very simple. Meat pies are very delicious meals. In fact, we call this Nigerian meat pie. Yes, Nigerian meat pie. The Americans don't do their meat pie this way. All right, so now we're adding our carrots. Okay, it's easier for the carrots to cook, and that's why we did not add it the same time with the potatoes. We allow the potatoes to cook for a little while before adding the carrots. All right, so we allow this to cook properly, and then we're adding in our oyster sauce just to enhance the flavor. And now we're adding our cayenne pepper or chili pepper, whatever it is that you have. We're adding our garlic powder. All right, and then we're adding just a little black pepper. All right, that's just to enhance the flavor. And then we're adding in the seasoning powder as well. All right. It's very important that when you're making your meat pie filling, it shouldn't be just blanch. All right, it shouldn't be blank, like just adding salt and seasoning alone. No, that will not make your cooking to come out well. You have to add in several spices, herbs, ingredients, sauces. The combination, the right combination of these things is what actually makes your cooking to come out beautiful and perfect. All right, so now our green pepper and our red bell pepper has gone in as well. So can you see the colors? It's giving us very beautiful colors. But before you add in your green pepper and your red pepper, you have to be sure that your potatoes are properly cooked. All right, you have to be sure that they are properly cooked. They are soft to the tooth, very, very soft to the tooth. Then finally, you add in your flour just to absorb in the water. All right. You cannot make meat pie with water, your sauce being watery, no. And you cannot if you make meat pie with dry sauce, for me, it looks like samosa sauce. That's not meat pie sauce for me. You need something a little bit moist so that once you are eating it, you have that moist feeling. All right, so we have our meat pie filling already, so we want to start rolling out. So now we are measuring out our meat pie dough. All right, so what I like to do is that I like to roll it in between two cellophane sheets. Okay, 2 cellophane sheets. I don't like to roll it directly on my work table just with my rolling pin. If I do that, I would keep having the dough, stick to my rolling pin, and that's not what I want. I want to work without, having to be removing the dough from the rolling pin. When rolling it in between the 2 cellophane sheets is actually easier. All right, just like what I am doing right now. Okay, so you have the option. If you want your meat pie crust to be thick, you can roll it to be a bit thick, but most times I prefer it to be light. All right, so when you're eating it, it's very, very delicious. So this is it. All right, so you take off the top cellophane, all right, and then you put in your filling. All right, so we're using a meat pie cutter, as you can see. All right, if you do not have a meat pie cutter, what you can do is just take something round, cut a round shape, and then put in between, and then fold it and use a fork to seal it. All right, so now I'm using water to just brush the edges. All right, water will do. Water is just fine. Okay, just for it to gum together. All right, so once you put that, you just close it together like this, and that's it. You press it, and then you take off the excess this way. Can you see? Press it and then pull out the excess from the sides, just like what I'm doing. It's very simple. The meat pie cutter has made it super easy to make meat pies, and this is it. All right, this can actually help you to make a batch of 100 meat pies, 200 meat pies in less than 1 hour. You're done. All right, so you can actually supply to shops, to stores, all right, for events, for breakfast, for several things. You have an order to make meat pie. This is super easy for you to do. All right, so you can see we have made some batches, and we want to bake them right now. So we have our egg wash. All right, broken some eggs with a pinch of sugar, pinch of salt, and milk, optional. And then you mix it all together just to have a very nice egg wash. All right, so using your brush, you just brush it over the meat pies, and that's it. and then we bake. Wow. But can you see how this is looking? This will do in 15 minutes, 180 degrees centigrade. Your meat pies are ready. They are ready. Look at how pretty they're looking. They're really looking so pretty. All right. So I just want to cut one to see all the middle. Look at how this is looking. Wow, this is looking yummy, 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 yummy. So I expect you to make yours. All right, and send it to me. I want to see your meat pie. All right, thank you. God bless you. Bye bye. Hello everyone, my name is Chef Sally, and today we'll be making sausage roll. All right, that's our ingredient that has been displayed on the screen. As usual, you should write everything, and then we have everything well arranged on our work table as usual. Like I always mention, when you want to make anything, please ensure to arrange everything on your work table before you start, because there's every likelihood that you may forget something very important. Okay, so we're making another short crust dough for our sausage roll. All right, we have different recipes for sausage roll, but in this case I'll be showing you this type. Probably in our subsequent classes I'll show you different types of sausage rolls. Okay, so now we are rubbing in our butter into our flour. You know, the same thing, the same process we did for our meat pie. So you rub this in until you're sure that you have properly rubbed it into your flour. All right, so this is it. So you just keep rubbing this into your flour this way. Just ensure to keep rubbing it in like this, okay, until you are sure that everything is rubbed in like this. All right, you have something crumbly, you have something that looks like sand or anything. Okay, so now we're adding in our baking powder. All right, just a little of the baking powder into this. All right, of course you can use the same dough that you use for your meat pie for this, so baking powder is also very optional. But when you're not using a lot of butter for your crust, you should add baking powder to make it to give it a softer crust, okay, so that it will not be too tough, it will not be too strong. Okay, all right, so the next thing we're doing is that we're adding in our water. All right, the consistency that we want is that we want something doughy. All right, and not a soft dough. We do not want too much of water in this, so we just add water just enough to put it together. All right, so this is it, just to ensure you have your measurement of your water, but I always would advise you still add it in gently, not at once. The reason is that the rate of absorption of flours differ. You know, the more the older the flour yes, the more it absorbs water. So I mean, you can have a particular flour that absorbs water even more than another kind of flour. All right, so yes, we have our measurement for water, but does not mean that you should just pour it all at once, because you may have it too watery. All right, so we have put this all together. You can see the consistency is just like what we have for our meat pies. All right, so this is it. All right, can you see how it's looking? Yeah, so it's kind of it's kind of drawy and tough at the same time. So just mix it properly, wrap it in a cellophane sheet, and keep it in your refrigerator for 30 minutes to rest. All right, this stage is very important. So now it has rested for 30 minutes. And like I always say, I like to roll out my dough in between two cellophane sheets. Okay, this is it. And the reason is that I don't want to roll it directly on my work table, because there's every likelihood that it will be sticking to my work table and it will be sticking to my rolling pin, and once I want to lift it, it will be tearing, and then I'll be going back and forth. It will not make my work to move as fast as I would want it to be. So I just put it in between two cellophane sheets and I take care of that problem. All right, so once you have rolled it this way, so what do? You put in your sausage, all right, this way, and then you take a knife and then you try to cut a straight line this way. You cut, try to get something that looks like a rectangle. All right, so this is it. If your hand will not give you a straight cut, you can use a ruler to do this. All right, so that you get something really straight. Okay, so this is it. Once you have this like this, you just roll it up, and yes, we have our sausage roll. All right, so you just roll it in between this dough, and that's it. Roll it until you get to the point where you would now cut off the excess to give it a straight cut this way. All right, so you could, yes, this is it. So you could trim out the sides, all right, to give you something really neat. Okay, so this is it. All right, so let's make another one so you are sure of what we just did. All right, like I said earlier, I would always like to roll my dough in between two cellophane sheets like this. All right, so you roll it and just ensure you have a dough that is quite thin. All right, that's quite thin. You roll it this way. All right, so once you're done rolling, and I told you that I like rolling in between two cellophane sheets because it takes care of the problem of my dough tearing, or the dough sticking to the rolling pin or sticking to my work table. It makes the work really clumsy. It makes it not interesting at all, and it slows down your movement. Okay, so what to do is just roll it in between two cellophane sheets. You can do this in between two cellophane sheets or parchment paper. Any one you have is fine. All right, as long as it will not stick to your work table or stick to your rolling pin. Okay, so just trim out the excess rough parts, just for you to have something neat that you can work with, just like what I'm doing. All right, so you can serve this for breakfast. You can sell it in places that have a very high footage where people are. It can be part of your snacks that you make and all of that. For meetings, it can be part of your breakfast that you will serve for meetings. You can supply to stores, you can supply to supermarkets, you can supply to people. It's a lot you can do. You can serve it as part of your snacks in any event. All right, you can make mini ones. You can cut the sausages into two and make something mini nice. You can be you can be flexible with this. So this is it. All right, so just roll as many as you can, and that's it. All right, so the next thing we're doing right now is that we are egg washing it. All right, as usual, when you do this, it helps the malign reaction in the oven, and it gives it that browning effect. If you don't do that, your dough, your pastries will come out dry and it won't look attractive. Okay, so it's always good for you to egg wash your pastries. Okay, so this is it. We have a few sausage rolls here which we are egg washing right now. Okay, so Once we are done egg washing, you just be free with it. You could score it with a knife like this, or with a fork, just perforate, give it some holes, just whatever it is that you want to do. I mean, you can be free with this, and then put this in an oven. This should bake between 8 to 10 minutes. Yes, it's baked and all of that. So yes, it's out of the oven, and here we have our sausage rolls. Okay, so enjoy your sausage rolls, make your creations. I want to see your creations. And this is Chef Sally saying goodbye. Hello everyone, my name is Chef Sally, and today we'll be making yeast raised sausage rolls. Wow, we made the one with the short crusts earlier. Now we're making the one with the yeast raised. All right, so we have everything on our work table. All right, we have the ingredients that was already stated out. Like I always say, please just write it down. Just get a note and write it down. Okay, so this is it. We are putting all of the ingredients into our flour, as you can see, and that's our yeast that we have proven. You know, we always prove our yeast. All right, we always prove our yeast to ensure that the yeast is active. All right, so that we don't miss surprises. Well, the secret to this is that you just put everything into the bowl. Just put everything, all of your ingredients, just put everything into the bowl, and then you mix it this way, just like what we're doing. Like in our other videos, we mix our flour with our mixing machine, but this time around we're mixing with the hand, just for you to know that whatever you can make with your machine, you can also do with your hands. So this is it. This is simple, isn't it? It's actually really simple. Like I usually tell some of my students that I make donuts with my hand alone up to 200 and something. You know, there was a time I had to deliver over 200 donuts to a particular place for like how many days, and that place was very close to my house, so I just felt there was no need going to the office. I was doing this at home. I'll wake up 1 a.m. and before 6 a.m. I am done. All right, I make those pillow donuts, those round ones, you know, those ones, and they are not that easy. All right, so can you see how I'm mixing it? Can you see how the dough is looking? Once you keep rolling it, this is how it comes out. All right, you keep mixing it until the gluten is properly developed. Can you see how beautiful this is looking? All right, so for this we sprinkle our flour on our work table, and then using our rolling pin we roll it out this way. All right, you roll it out this way. Okay, once you roll, you lift it up, all right, to ensure that it's not sticking to your work table, and then you just use your hand to ensure that the flour is, you know, on your work table. It's very important. So once you roll it 1 time, 2 times, you know, you lift it up. It's very important. You don't roll it for a long time before lifting it up. You just keep doing that just to ensure that you don't roll and then now discover that your entire dough is sticking to your work table. At that time, it will be disastrous. You have to put everything together and then mix again. All right, so you see how I'm lifting it. Is very important for you to keep lifting it up. All right, it is very, very important for you to keep lifting it up. Lift it up, sprinkle in some flour, put it back, roll it out. Very, very important. So this is like what we want to achieve is I want to achieve something that looks like a rectangle. Can you see this? This is looking like a rectangle. So when you are rolling this, you have it at the back of your mind that you want to roll something that looks like a rectangle. Okay, so what I'm doing is that I'm just trimming the edges just to be sure that I have something neat, a little bit neat. So the next thing I do is that I begin to cut something that looks like a triangle. Okay, so this is it. I begin to cut something that looks like a triangle. All right, so this is what we're doing right now. You can, if you do not have a pizza cutter, all right, you can use a knife for this process. Okay, so you place your sausage in your dough this way, and then you roll it out. Okay, you roll it out this way. You just roll it, just hold the edges and roll it so that your fingerprints will not all right, spoil. Just ensure that the tip is resting under, okay, so that once it's proven and you're baking, it will not open. All right, that's very important. Okay, once you start rolling it out, ensure that the pointed tip goes under your dough this way. All right, so this is it. I mean, you can do this for several other things. Okay, you can put in different kinds of filling, all right, into this. This will work for so many other things, but for this sausage roll, it also will work quite well. All right, so this is it. You roll it out this way. Okay, another thing you could do is measure out your triangles to ensure that they are same shape. But look at what I'm saying, the tip should be under. Can you see? It's just under. Can you see? This way. That's what we want. It should be under the sausage. It should rest under, because if it is on top or by the side, once it's proven, it will begin to open, and the worst is when you begin to bake, it will open completely, and that will be disastrous. Okay, so once it's proven, all right, you just egg wash it. Remember, our egg wash is just for you to break your eggs. You could just use your eggs with a pinch of salt, it's fine, but you could add a pinch of sugar as well and a little milk to that to the egg, and then you mix it all together. Okay, using your pastry brush, you brush the eggs over your pastry, over your dough this way. All right, and then you bake. This is really simple, isn't it? All right, these are all the other options that you can have as well. The other one we did, the crust is a short crust dough, but this one is a yeast raised dough. All right, before you bake, it's very important to allow it to rise. All right, so this has baked for just about 15 minutes, and can you see how this is looking? This is looking nice. Okay, you can I mean, there's nobody that sees this in your show glass or anywhere, or if you're presenting it anywhere, that would not love it. All right, so we have come to the end of the class. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye.